Accused number 3 was indeed in Vosloorus on the 26th of October. On the day of the incident, accused number 3 was not at the scene because the very same cell phone that you wanted us to believe was accused number 3 contacting number 5 is not at the scene. The state objects and says it wasn't necessarily that accused number 3 was where his phone was at. Please make it make sense. All of a sudden, Ntanzi's phone is pinging at Apostle Church, it's pinging at University of Pretoria, it's pinging at some flats in Pretoria, it's pinging in Vosloorus. Mngomezulu swept the floor with the state's case. That cross-examination was fire. That is where the state's case went choo, 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 choo.
And I'm bad like the Barbie. I'm a doll, but I still wanna party. Things felt like I'm ready to bend. I'm a 10, so I pull a next 10. Like Daddy.
Hello and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Mngomezulu, also known as Bear. On all social media platforms, do subscribe, be a part of this family, and if you're returning sub, welcome back, darling. Guys, we're back in court with the proceedings from Monday the 20th of May up until today, which is Friday the 24th. And before we get into this video, guys, please don't forget to like this video before you watch, comment down below with your thoughts, and also do not skip ads because we do not do that here. We watch the ads so that we can support this channel. So let's get right into the proceedings for the week. On Monday the 20th of May, we continued with Mr. Khosa's evidence with regards to the cell phone communication of the accused. And for some reason, Khosa was just refusing to tell us where the Section 205s were coming from, which service provider. So Baloyi led his evidence. It took literally the whole day, and he was just basically going back and forth with regards to the communication amongst all the 5 accused. On Tuesday, the 21st of May, we continued yet again with Mr. Khosa leading evidence, and on this day he was touching mostly on accused number 2's communication and also the cell phone towers in which the cell phone was pinging at. And I found it very interesting that amongst the towers and the days in which the cell phone was pinging, there was the first ping which happened on the 20th of August 2020, and it is said that accused number 2 and accused number 5 were allegedly communicating. And if you remember, with the evidence that has been brought before the court, accused number 5 had a cell phone which was confiscated allegedly from him in Kalagabusha prison, and that was on the 20th of August 2020. And there are communications that are ongoing with accused number 2 after the confiscation of such phone. So it is very surprising how now he got another phone in prison again after he was caught with one. But yeah, that evidence was led, and Mshololo yet again on Tuesday continues to ask for the Section 205s and which service provider did the Section 205 come from, and we still did not receive any response from the state. As Khosa continues to lead the evidence with regards to accused number 2's phone, he himself, I don't know whether it was a slip up, but Khosa himself says that accused number 2's phone was taken from him during his arrest on the 16th of June. Now this is interesting because if you remember Mohane's evidence, he says that Ntanzi's phones were never taken from him, and the only time that they recovered any sort of cell phone from Ntanzi was on the 8th of February 2021, which is about 8 months after Ntanzi was arrested. So there's a lot of questions that I thought of basically after hearing that. Firstly, where did he charge? How was he able to maintain a cell phone for 8 months without getting caught? And also, being a person that was traveling from one police station to another, how was he able to keep that cell phone in his possession after being checked various times? I mean, the same people told us that they checked Ntanzi when for injuries, and there were no injuries. So if you were checking him for injuries, you didn't see a cell phone. If you were checking him when you were putting him in cells, there was no cell phone found. And surprising enough, Ntanzi was arrested on the 16th, and on the 17th there's evidence before this court that he was taken into a boardroom where he was stripped, and no cell cell phone was recovered from him, and he was asked to open his mouth and everything. No cell phone was recovered, but Mogane's evidence is that Ntanzi's cell phone was never taken from him on the 16th of June. The only time that they got a cell phone from Ntanzi was on the 8th of February. Mr. Gouws then completed his examination in chief, and Mngomezulu, Europe. Mngomezulu swept the floor with the state's case on Wednesday when he began his cross-examination of Mr. Gouws. The first thing he went straight to the date of the 26th of October, which was the day of the incident. Now, when Mr. Gouws was leading his evidence with Mr. Baloy, he had put on 3 transactions of the day, and those transactions that he had put on record were basically just the 3 communications between accused number 3 and number 5. Now, when Mngomezulu stood, he says, we're going to take it right to the beginning of the 26th of October 2024, and we are going to follow the evidence and see all the towers in which accused number 3's phone actually pinged on. And that is where the state's case went choo, 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 choo. In the transactions that Mngomezulu was putting onto the record, or made Gouws put onto the record, we do realize that accused number 3 was indeed in Vosloorus on the 26th of October in 2014, and he was there up until about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. Now, what is surprising about this is that every transaction thereafter moves away from Vosloorus and ends up around GP Town in Johannesburg. Which is interesting because Senzo Meyiwa was said to have been shot around 7:30 to 8:30 at night, and around those times accused number 3 was in Johannesburg, which is a couple of minutes. I'll try put the minutes here. I'll check on my maps as to how far he was from the incident when this happened. Now, the surprising thing about this aspect is that now that Mngomezulu is pointing out that accused number 3's phone was pinging in different locations, the state objects and says it wasn't necessarily that accused number 3 was where his phone was at. Please make it make sense. What is the state trying to do? Because all along, the state wanted us to believe that this number that they've been reading out has been in communication. So they weren't saying it's the number that was in communication. They were specifically saying because this number has been linked to accused number 3, then accused number 3 has been communicating with accused number 5, accused number 4, etc., etc. Now that Mngomezulu is saying, well, on the day of the incident, accused number 3 was not at the scene because the very same cell phone that you wanted us to believe was accused number 3 contacting number 5 is not at the scene. Now it's a problem. The state is like, no, we didn't say that accused number 3, we were saying the cell phone. So basically, the cell phone was moving around while its owner was somewhere else. Make it make sense. Make it make sense, guys. Mngomezulu literally left us with our jaws on the floor on Wednesday because that cross-examination was fire. That cross-examination was fire. We ended off the day with those questions being asked, and on Thursday, the 23rd of May, Mngomezulu continues with his cross-examination, and there was an argument with Mr. Rata. When Mngomezulu was trying to put a point across, Mr. Rata kept, Judge Rata kept interjecting, and Mngomezulu ended up telling Rata that, you know what, the court has been very impatient with us. Like, I need to remind the court to be patient, listen, and actually digest the things that we are saying. Mngomezulu continues to say, I'm putting it as fact here that accused number 3 was not at the scene of crime on that specific date. And Mr. Gouws says, no, I had not said it was accused number 3. I said his cell phone. So now all of a sudden, the cell phone is moving on its own without the owner. But when the state was trying to prove its case, the cell phone was the owner speaking to all the other accused. So it wasn't just that the cell phone was communicating with the other cell phone. It was accused number 3. Now that accused number 3 has been removed from the scene, now it's all of a sudden, no, it's the cell phone. Guys, the state's case has been dragged for dirt. Mngomezulu then completes his cross-examination, but he really did give us fireworks. And RAMOSEPELE said, hold my beer, because I'm going to continue right where Mngomezulu left off. RAMOSEPELE, the first question that he hits on is the issue of a handover. Now, continuously, Mr. Host has been telling us that there's certain information that he does not have with regards to the cell phone information in this case, which is surprising because he, again, says that he did a takeover or a handover of some sort was done between him and Mr. Steyn when Mr. Steyn was going for retirement. Now, guys, I don't know how Host basically interprets handover, but if a person is going on retirement, there isn't a single bit of information that they should be leaving out for the people that will be continuing working at the office, because he's no longer going to be there. So tell me why a handover was done from Mr. Steyn to Mr. Host, yet Mr. Host still doesn't have the Section 205s for Abo Kelly Kumalo or Tumelo or Zandi, all the people that were in the house on the day of the incident. I'm calling it bullshit. RAMOSEPELE also presses on the issue of, all along you've been saying that accused number 3 has been communicating with accused number 5. You haven't been saying the cell phone of accused number 3. Now that Mngomezulu is coming and saying accused number 3 was not at the crime of scene on the day of the incident, now you're saying no, it's not accused number 3, it's his cell phone. Surprising. RAMOSEPELE pressed on that, and then he took it to the towers. He went into the evidence with regards to the towers, and the first thing he says, firstly, we are going to deny that accused number 2 had his phone in the cells when he was arrested, because he says that his phone, 2 phones actually, were taken from him during his arrest by Mabena and Mohane in Rustenburg. Now, the cell phone towers do actually show the morning of the day that Ndanzi was arrested. He was at work. It picks up the towers of the Impala mines. It picks up the towers of Freedom Park, which is where Ndanzi was staying, and then the cell phone goes off. Right? When the cell phone goes off, where is the cell phone? In Pretoria North. Now, to RAMOSEPELE, this makes sense. And to me, myself, it also makes sense because, yes, Ndanzi was arrested, and yes, he is in Pretoria North. And if he's arrested and he's in Pretoria North, his cell phone should be in an evidence bag in the SAP 13. Right? So it makes sense that it's pinging near Pretoria North. But this is where it gets juicy, because all of a sudden Ndanzi's phone is pinging at Apostle Church, it's pinging at University of Pretoria, it's pinging at some flats in Pretoria, it's pinging in Vosloorus on a day that Ndanzi never even went out of the cells. So how is it that Ndanzi had his phone all along if it's been pinging in all these different places? When I tell you that there's no case here for the state, please believe me. RAMOSEPELE completes his cross-examination on Thursday, and we are told that Mr. Host is not available today, which is Friday, the 24th of May. So we will be expecting another witness. And indeed, on the 24th, we got Mr. Mabasa on the stand. Mr. Mabasa, if you remember, is the person that downloaded accused number 3's phone, and he's back basically to testify on the phone numbers now and the phone downloads as well. Previously, he had come to testify with regards to the photos that were downloaded from accused number 3's phone. So Mngomezulu had no cross-examination for this witness, and RAMOSEPELE as well had no questions for this witness. However, Mnisi touched on such an important fact today, because he reminds the witness about the evidence that he laid with regards to the photos, and he specifically goes to the date of the 26th. And when he goes to the date of the 26th, he says there's a photo here on your Exhibit S that shows a number, and the number that's written above the photo is IMG 20141026, and then there's 172839. What does that mean? And he says this could mean that the photo was taken on that date at that time, or it was received on that phone on that date and that time. So Mnisi reminds the witness that when you testified, you said that this particular photo was taken on that date at that time. Now, surprise, surprise, guys, The cell phone evidence that has been led with, by Gos is now coming into contact with the evidence that had been led by Umabasa, because the evidence and the towers of accused number 3 that are saying that at 5 o'clock he was en route to Johannesburg are now corresponding with the pictures that were taken at 1728, where Mshololo clearly says this photo was taken at George Koch. Is it George Koch? George Koch. I'm gonna put the name here. Hostel, and it wasn't Foslera's hostel, which we were told by Uzungu. Now, guys, if we take it back, let's rewind it back a little bit, because there was a witness that came to testify. Uzungu, the police guy, that guy is a liar. I've been saying that for the longest time, because he says that he was with all 5 of these accused on the day of the incident. During the day, they met up at around 11, and he says that all the accused left the Foslera's hostel, and they came back holding guns just after Senzo was shot. Now, this evidence that says that accused number 3's phone was Joburg is now doing what? Rebutting Zungu's evidence, because how could have accused number 3 been at Foslera's when his phone is saying he is in Johannesburg? Now, 2, how could he have been at Foslera's at 7 or 7:30 when a photo that he took on his phone around 5 o'clock in the afternoon is corresponding with the cell phone data of the towers that he was in Johannesburg? Guys, it is lit. I'm telling you now, the state has no case. I'm telling you now that the 5 accused before this court are innocent when it comes to the murder of Senzo Meyiwa. That is my opinion. I'm no expert, but I follow the evidence. Thank you so much for watching my video, and if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up. Comment down below what your thoughts are. Hope you have a lovely weekend. I will see you again next week, Friday. Siyavota next week. I don't know what's going to happen with the proceedings, but I'll keep you updated. Anyway, bye.